testing， 各位同事大家。
All right, members, good afternoon. It is time to make a start. This is the first House Committee in the Year of the Rooster. Wish everybody every success in the Year of the Rooster. Item 1, confirmation minutes of meeting. Minutes of the 13th meeting held on January the 20th. Paper CB2 724/16 to 17. We have received no proposals regarding the minutes. Can I take the minutes as read? No objection. Minutes endorsed. Item 2, matters arising meeting with the CS. The CS expressed concerns about the progress of various committees, and he's concerned about the progress, and this will impinge on policy initiatives regarding from the policy address in 2017. He would like us to speed up the progress. Yes, I've made it clear to the CS that we hope he would liaise with members of different political persuasions to understand their positions rather than leaving it too late. I understand the CS is making arrangements to meet members of different political parties. Legal Service Division report on subsidiary legislation, gazetted on January the 20th. Paper LS 27/16 to 17. Acting legal advisor, please. Madam Chair, there are 4 pieces of legal notices in 3 groups. The first one is LN 10 and LN 12. LN 10 seeks to amend the statutory minimum wage ordinance to increase the rate to $34.5, and also we need to amend Schedule 9 of the ordinance, and the requirement to keep records of hours worked will be increased from $13,300 to $14,100 per month, and this comes into operation on May the 1st. Members, please note that under the legislative arrangement, members can rescind the legal notice if they do not approve of it, and they cannot move any amendments. On the 23rd of January, at the policy briefing, the administration briefed the manpower panel members on the revision of the minimum wage, and members did express some comments. All right then, the first 2 items, subcommittee. Dr. Kwok-Ki proposes a subcommittee, and a member wishing to join. Mr. Leung Yu-jung. There will be further invitation later on. Legal advisor, please. LN 11 seeks to amend the pharmacy and poisons regulation to incorporate certain substances so that they would be subject to restrictions under the regulation. Most of them would come into effect on the 20th of July 2017. For others, they will come into effect on the 20th of January 2018. The administration didn't consult the Health Services Panel in this regard. All right, members, LN 11, Pharmacy and Poisons Regulations 2017 Subcommittee. No? Legal advisor, please. Madam Chair, LN 13 seeks to is in relation to import and export general regulations, amendment of Schedule 7, Notice 2017, and this is to add Venezuela, Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela to Schedule 7 to Cap 68. The effect is that trade in rough diamonds with Venezuela under the Kimberley Process Certification Scheme may be lawfully carried on in Hong Kong. This comes into operation on the 1st of April 2017. The administration didn't consult the panel on commerce and industry. Thank you. All right, subcommittee for LN 13. If not, just a reminder that for amendments, the deadline is the 1st of March council meeting. Item 4, Legal Service Division report on subsidiary legislation gazetted on January the 27th. Paper LS 28/16 to 17. Acting Legal Advisor, please. Madam Chair. LN 15. Members must remember that the UN Sanctions Somalia Amendment Regulation 2017 is about certain sanctions regarding arms embargo, travel ban, and financial restrictions, and there are exceptions to the restrictions. LN 15 mainly lengthens all these exceptions, and the exemptions will expire at midnight on November the 15th, 2016. LN 15 provides that this will come into effect on the day this is gazetted. Members must be aware that there is no need to table these in LegCo, and this is not subject to amendment by LegCo. But as per usual practice, this kind of legal notice would be referred to the subcommittee to examine the implementation in Hong Kong of resolutions of the UN Security Council in relation to sanctions. And members may consider referring this LN 15 to the subcommittee for consideration. All right, you all agree the advice of the acting legal advisor that these be referred to the relevant subcommittee as per usual practice. No objection, so this will be so referred. Next, business for council meeting of February the 8th, 2017. Report number 10, 1617 of the House Committee on consideration of subsidiary legislation and other instruments. There are 8 items. The Construction Workers Registration Ordinance and that is Schedules 1 and 1A. The chairman of the subcommittee, Dr. Lo Wai Kwok and Mr. Abraham Shek, indicated their intention to speak, and also the Construction Workers Registration Exemption Regulation. So I will, in my capacity as chairman of the House, move this motion. B, questions. There are 22 questions, 6 oral and 16 written. C, bills first and second reading. There are 2 bills, first apology bill and 2 stamp duty amendment bill 2017. We're going to deal with these 2 items at our meeting on the 10th of February. Government motion, no notice has been received. E, members' motions. Proposed resolution to be moved by Mr. Chen Chen-ying under Section 34(4) of the Interpretation and General Clauses Ordinance Cap 1 in relation to the Banking Disclosure Amendment Rules 2016 and Banking Specification of Class of Exempted Charges Amendment Notice 2016. The wording of the resolution has been issued vide LC paper number CB 3288/16 to 17. And this is to extend the amendment period to the 1st of March. Next, proposed resolution to be moved by Mr. Paul Chair under Article 75 of the Basic Law of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. The wording has been issued vide LC paper number CB3 289/16 to 17, dated 24th of January 2017. This is to amend the ROP to formalize the provisional arrangement regarding the bell ringing in LegCo. 3. Motion on urging the government to step up the regulation of moneylenders and financial intermediaries by Ms. Alice Mack. 4th, a motion on expeditiously conducting a comprehensive review of the government service outsourcing system by Mr. Michael Luk. Next, business for council meeting on 15, 16, and 17 February 2017. There are 22 written questions. B, members' motion. Motion of thanks. Director of Administration has issued a letter dated 23rd of January 2017 on the debate on the motion of thanks on the 2017 policy address, proposed grouping of policy areas. As chairman of for amendments, the notice period, the deadline is the 8th of February. At the House Committee on the 13th of January, members already have taken note of the arrangement. The debate will be spread over 3 days. It will be split into 5 areas. All the details regarding the grouping of policy areas are set out in the Director of Administration's letter. So I'd like to put it to members whether they are in support of these groupings. All right, this is in accordance with previous practice. So we endorse the Director of Administration's proposal. Report of the subsidiary legislation and other instruments. The list of amendments are set out in the paper. If members wish to speak, the deadline is the 7th of February, a Tuesday, at 5 p.m. Position of Bills Committee and subcommittees. As of the 2nd of February, there are 4 Bills Committees, 10 subcommittees under the House, 5 subcommittees under panels to do with policies that are currently in action. There are 5 on the waiting list that are waiting activation. Nomination and election of members for appointment to the Select Committee to inquire into matters about the agreement between Mr. Leung Chun-ying and the Australian firm UGL Limited. We've been sticking with Mr. Leung Chun-ying. On the 20th of January, members agreed that we will have the nomination and election taken in accordance with the rules of procedure, and we're going to have members nominated and elected. A valid nomination should be made by a member verbally and seconded by another member. It has to be accepted by the member being nominated. And the nomination, please.
Dr. Loh Wai Kwok. I nominate Dr. Priscilla Leung. Any member seconds? Mr. Stephen Ho seconds. Dr. Priscilla Leung, do you accept? Yes. Mr. Stephen Ho. Mr. Holden Chow, you nominate Mr. Holden Chow. Does any member second? Dr. Priscilla Leung seconds. Mr. Holden Chow, do you accept the nomination? Yes. Mr. James Toh. I nominate Mr. Lam Chuk Ting. And Mr. Wu Chi Wai, you second, right? Mr. Lam Chuk Ting, do you accept the nomination? Yes. Any other nomination, Mr. Holden Chow? I nominate Ms. Eunice Yong. And Mr. Wong Ting Kwong seconds. Eunice Yong, do you accept? Yes. Mr. Lam Cheuk Ting, I nominate Mr. Andrew Wan. Any member seconds? Mr. Wu Chi Wai seconds. Mr. Andrew Wan isn't here, but before the meeting, he has already informed me that he would accept the nomination. Mr. Horace Zhang, I nominate Dr. Junius Ho. Mr. Junius Ho. Mr. Leung Chi Chang, you second. Mr. Junius Ho, do you accept? Yes. Ms. Alice Mack. I nominate Mr. Wong Kok Kin. Right. Any seconder? Mr. Leung Chi Chang seconds. Mr. Wong Kok Kin, do you accept? Yes. Any other nominations? Mr. Alvin Young. Dr. Kenneth Leung, please, Madam Chair. Mr. Alvin Young nominates Dr. Kenneth Leung. Tanya seconds. Dr. Kenneth Leung, do you accept? Yes. Mr. Ronick Chen. Mr. Ma Fung Kwok, please. Mr. Ronick Chen nominates Mr. Ma Fung Kwok. Any seconder? Mr. Yu Si Wing seconds. Mr. Ma Fung Kwok isn't here, but he has informed me before the meeting that he would accept the nomination. Any other nominations? Mr. Gary Chen. Mr. Paul Chair. You nominate Mr. Paul Chair, and Mr. Stephen Ho, you second, right? Mr. Paul Chair, do you accept? Yes, thank you, I accept. So we have 9 nominations here. Any other nominations? Dr. Fernando Zhang. I nominate Mr. Alvin Young. Any seconder? Dr. Kenneth Leung seconds Mr. Alvin Young. Do you accept? Yes. Any other nominations? Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. I nominate Mr. Michael Look. Any member seconds? Mr. James Toh seconds. Mr. Michael Look, I don't accept. Any other nominations? Mr. Leung Kwok Hong nominates Miss Alice Mack. Any member seconds? No. Oh, Mr. Ray Chan seconds. Miss Alice Mack? No, thank you. All right, not accepted. We already have more than 10 candidates. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, I nominate Mr. Wong Kok Kin. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, please pay attention. Wong Kok Kin has been nominated. So I nominate Mr. Lau Yip Kang. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong nominates Mr. Lau Yip Kang. Anyone seconds? No? That's it. Any other nominations, please? Mr. Jeffrey Lam. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong nominates Mr. Jeffrey Lam. Anyone seconds? Mr. Ray Chan seconds. Mr. Jeffrey Lam doesn't accept the nomination. Any other nominations? You have not pointed out that you want to nominate anyone. You were referring to Dr. Lo Wai Kwok. So do you want to nominate him? All right. Any seconder? No. Sorry. Any other nominations from other members? We already have 11 candidates. If there are no other nominations. Now, well, if there are no other nominations, then I declare that these 11 members are returned uncontested, and they are Dr. Priscilla Leung, Mr. Holden Chow, Mr. Lam Cheuk Ting, Ms. Eunice Yong, Mr. Andrew Wan, Mr. Junius Ho, Mr. Wong Kok Kin, Dr. Kenneth Leung, Mr. Ma Fung Kwok, Mr. Paul Chan, Mr. Alvin Young, and they are returned members for the Select Committee. I will suspend the meeting for 10 minutes so that members can elect among themselves chairman of this Select Committee. This meeting will resume at 3 p.m. so that we can endorse the chairman and vice chairman so elected for the Select Committee. Please proceed to Conference Room 4 and return to this conference room on time, please.